Okay, so those are a few different types of situations where I might trust someone and consider their information reliable when I'm just getting real basic information from them, like whether a bus went by, ask a child, just blunt, direct, simple question. It might be something a little more complicated where I ask a group of people and they know that there's some consequences for them giving me accurate information or not. And they also know that I'm talking to a group of people. That tends to really increase the reliability of their information. And then the last category was somebody who has a really specific personal interest in the information they give, um, that kind of thing. I'll give some more examples here as we look through mainstream media, uh, educational institutions, and government. And then we'll come back to churches later. So, as for mainstream media, I wouldn't trust them for most of the above, but there are some exceptions. Basic, simple information like things that involve little or no interpretation, uh, that we can rely on media for, especially when there are other media outlets where we can verify that information, whether that's other internet websites or other TV stations or whatever it may be. We can count on media to provide us basic, simple information like the current temperature, like the schedule for upcoming movies, the times of what movies are when, where. There's certain information for which they're quite reliable, and a whole lot of information that involves a lot of interpretations and opinions and uh, could be influenced by their commercial advertisers and their owners, as well as government regulators, because media is regulated by government. On that subject, public education is also government regulated, even colleges. Um, so I consider them really no more reliable than the mass media, only for basic, simple principles, as in mathematics, spelling, as well as technical information. That would include things like how to mix colors to make a new color. Very simple things that can be demonstrated and quickly learned. They're reliable for that. If they can show that it's true, then obviously that can be relied on, whether that's an education institution or anything else. Um, so a curriculum, however, that involves interpretations or opinions, I may presume those to be biased, even grossly biased, by the commercial interests of government regulators. In particular, the history of political systems and governments, um, but also even basic science like nutrition. Those kind of things can be heavily influenced by commercial interests that lobby through the government, that set up the government programs, and that maintain and support those programs. So there may be some lobbying going on. There may be some bribery going on. A lot of governments in the world, a certain amount of corruption and bribery is recognized as present. In some systems, people don't seem to recognize that there might be some um, bribery or lobbying going on outside of whatever ideals are presented through the media and through the public education system about how the influence of uh, industry may affect what curriculum is presented, what is researched in colleges, what is presented in schools, even which subject matter is presented, not just the specific subject matter in regard to nutrition, but what fields of study are encouraged, which ones are taboo. So, governments, how about them? There are times when I would put certain government agencies in the category of reliable. That would be emergency information about a volcano or a fire currently in progress. Again, governments, because of their technology, they may have a satellite or they may have somebody right in there that can say something very specific and very competent about a specialized field, and that often is quite reliable. There's also things like road closures and whether a road is open. Those closures could be in relation to construction projects or snow falling across the road or something like that. those kind of things are directly under the jurisdiction of the government. If there's a government bureaucrat standing there with a communication device and saying, yes, this road is clear, or this road is clear but only for the next 20 miles, and we encourage you to only go this way if you have chains to put on your tires in case of ice and snow and things like that. So those are the kinds of information where government bureaucrats are quite reliable. However, there are many other cases where governments are uniquely notorious for keeping secrets that could be of interest and relevance to lots of people, whether that's other governments or to their own citizenry. Governments are also notorious for spreading disinformation propaganda, including through commercial media and public schools and even higher institutions of higher learning, so to speak. Perhaps even through churches, though I'm not going to emphasize that. But I am going to talk next about churches and when churches are reliable and when they might not be, and how they would be reliable and so on. That'll be the last segment.